What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Red TV. I think Caleb and I just did the same motion. Did we just do that? Yeah.
Wow.
That's kind of bad. Anyways, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us on another Wednesday night. I hope your summer's doing good. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Gil.
And my name's Caleb, and we want to welcome you no matter where you're watching. We actually got 6 campuses here at Allison Park Church. So we got Hampton, we got Deer Lakes, we got Mount Nebo, we got Butler, we got Ohio River, and we got Northside. Hey-o! I got all of them. If you're watching at any of those campuses, or you're from any of those campuses, make sure to shout that out in the chat below. And maybe if you're just watching from anywhere in the world, whether it's, Aruba or it's California, shout that out in the chat below.
Actually, if you're in Aruba right now and you're watching this, we're just gonna send you a gift card for being in Aruba. So tell us below. We're
Turn
gonna
the
give you a
stream
$20,
off.
I don't know, Chick-fil-A gift card or whatever restaurants you have in Aruba. We'll send you one.
Exactly.
Because that's pretty amazing. But anyways, we want to know who you are on the chat, so make sure to tell us. We want to introduce you to someone very special. She's going to be the one moderating the chat, and that is Meredith Norris. Unfortunately, no relation to Chuck Norris. Big sad. But hey, Meredith, good to see you.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
So good. Meredith, how are you?
I'm doing well.
We just asked
Your hair, I know.
Same
I didn't get to ask it.
Okay.
Meredith, your hair is a little darker than normal. I know we kind of check in on your hair like every week, but it's a little bit more
Yeah.
purpley. What happened?
It is. So I dyed it a couple of days ago, but I'm thinking that we're coming to an end here.
Oh, the end of the colorful Meredith hair.
Oh,
No.
that's sad. I like that
It might
saga.
be a different color later, but I don't know yet.
Yeah,
but
that makes
might be
sense. Well, Meredith, whether your hair is purple or yellow or your normal color, we love you no matter what. But we have an important question to ask you. So it's summer now, and now there's all these summer reading plans. So we want to ask you, what is your favorite book you've ever read or that you're reading now? What's your favorite book?
So I have to say that my favorite book is Swipe Right. We did a series on that, I think, last year, but that book is so good. So
Hitting us
good.
with those spiritual books. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a more simple answer. Mine's just Ender's Game. I don't even know if it's my favorite book, but I like that game. And I like that game. It's a good game and a good book.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the I guess the very unspiritual or well-read answer. Do you guys remember Frog and Toad? Do you remember
Got
that?
it.
Yeah.
Like the books. They
I've
did like
heard of
they did like a series whenever there was like a whole like arc where they were like eating cookies and they couldn't stop eating cookies. Like, we need to stop eating, and they just kept eating, and that was the entire plot of it. That's probably the
Yeah.
best book I ever read. I identified with that.
Did that kind of like set a motto for your life?
No, it just exposed me. It like had my mail read. I think I was eating cookies when I read it. I was like, oh, this is terrible.
Okay, well, Meredith, we actually have a very important question, and everyone who's watching, you guys got to spam this question in the chat. But this is our weekly question, which is, which fictional character would you want to meet in real life? Ooh. Meredith, answer this question. Which fictional character would you like to meet in real life?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'd have to say Aang from the Avatar. I think he'd be so much fun to be around.
Oh, not Edward from Twilight?
No.
Oh, come
Not
on,
Edward from
Meredith.
Twilight.
You're a Team Jacob kind of gal.
I was about to say maybe when I was in middle school, but not anymore.
Well, make sure
Yeah.
you guys on the chat, make sure you guys are spamming your answer below, and you're going to be in communication with Meredith and talking with her if you guys have any needs. So thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight, Meredith.
Talk to you in a bit. Now, I would like to say this, because I actually did say this there, but I think I'd want to meet, if I could pick Jake and Finn from Adventure Time. Jake, if I could just pick one, but Jake and Finn would be great. 'cause I
Jake's
feel like
pretty cool.
I get them. But we do want to say this, thank you guys for being with us here tonight. As you guys know, last week we began the saga, The Adventures of Dave and Jor, and we actually have a brand new episode for you this week. So, check it out.
In a world where few dare to dream of what lies beyond, a few brave explorers still believe. They call themselves Red X.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the adventures of Jor and Jor. Jor and Dave.
Dave and Jor.
We're here
I'm your
dressed
host, Dave. This is my sidekick, Jor.
As you can see, we are dressed up as spacemen today. Dave's a half spaceman. I'm a full spaceman because today we are sending rockets into space.
Mentos rockets.
Yes, Diet Coke rockets, actually,
We're
Dave.
gonna see who can launch them the farthest.
Yes,
AKA me.
So we're taking some Diet Coke, we're taking some Mentos, putting them in, and seeing who can send their rocket the furthest. Dave's drinking. Oh gosh, like that? 4? Let me do it.
All right, so I think you have to do it like this.
And then shake it up, shake it up. It actually feels really tight. Taut. Oh my goodness. Wasn't ideal, was it? Oh no. Okay. Oh, that's Dave's first one. That's Dave's first one.
You can try and launch it, Dave, but it's not gonna do much of that.
I was trying to do that like thing that you saw in the video.
Form is everything here. And I realize now that I was putting the Mentos in the wrong way. Tight circle of friends will go far for you in life.
Okay.
So that's what I'm feeling about this one. Come on. That's barely hanging on, which is the way we like it. Shot 1. Practice was not good. I'm gonna be honest about that. Dude, it busted too much force from me.
Dave, what shot is this for you?
2. Oh my!
This is your red space program, baby.
I made sure to hit the cap 100. I went boom on the cap. That's why it shot upwards. I should have shot it outwards, but you know, I got a lot of height on that one.
Oh. Man. So close. Mine was. Oh boy. Oh boy. Go. Gotta go quick.
It's on there, it's on there.
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry.
What number shot is this?
2. Hit it. On. I don't know. I want to watch the film. I don't know at all.
I hope it just explodes as you're shaking.
Oh! Watch out! Maybe! Oh
A little low altitude for my taste, but yeah, you know the distance is pretty good. Sounds good velocity, you know, other science terms.
So two Coke rockets in, very little success.
Very little, none.
No success,
Except for
actually.
comedy.
Except for your outfit, which is actually a big success.
Do you like it rolled up or not?
All right, Jor, what shot is this?
3.
Number 3. 2 failed shots. 2 miserably
2
horrible
growth opportunities.
Wow, that's perspective right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Look good, feel good. All right, I'm learning. Although that had nothing to do with my throw now that I think about it.
And the
That was just
distance
luck.
didn't beat Dave's, but
No, but it's progress.
Number 4, baby.
shot number 4. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Up of 2 great shots. Although Jordan just had a great shot too, so how do you feel about that?
It was like 1/4 of my max distance, so
Here we go, baby!
Dave, what is this technique?
I'm trying to get it as tight as possible. You ready? Oh my gosh! This thing is about to explode.
In terms of height, that was pretty good.
You know, it's not bad. We're trying to get this to actual space, so it's like one
Yeah, space isn't
One
that
step.
way. Space is that way. I like the view. Oh gosh, it's already coming. Okay, I gotta go. Was that one okay? I mean, it was not bad. It was good in height. Last one, Dave, how we feeling?
I mean, I've already had a pretty far one, so as long as Jordan doesn't pull some crazy launch out, your boy's fine.
And how does that make you feel? Annoyed? And I'm gonna put this whole thing in there. A lot of tape you got there, dude. Your camera's broken.
All right, number 5. Win this one for Uncle Sam, baby. 3, 2, 1.
He almost killed me!
Pretty far, actually.
Oh my gosh! You almost hit me straight in the head! Final shot, how you feeling? Feeling great. 100% confident. Yeah? Feel this? Nice and... Are you gonna get the upset win? Absolutely, just watch. Just go back and build.
This is a little
Get out of here.
weenie
Space,
junior.
space. Honestly, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. Dave couldn't even really get his spacesuit on, so I felt like that was in my advantage, but maybe the extra room allowed him to, you just go back and you replay those things in your mind, and it always looks different afterwards. But, I give it up for him. He couldn't get his spacesuit on, but at least he could, slam a Coke bottle down. So I guess that makes him the winner if it's...
I know that he's talking all about him looking all shiny and look.
nothing. We hit Coke.
He has to wear the suit that brings the most attention. You know what I'm saying? I am your classic working class spaceman.
Spaceman
Like we're
doesn't
working
have
on the
to.
ships, we're sending them out as far as we can. So it was never a doubt. There was never a doubt. We knew where this was gonna go.
All right, everybody. Well, that was the adventures of Dave and Jor. Dave was unfortunately the winner. Well done, Dave.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to interpret events, because this is probably going to be a trend you're going to see coming a lot during these weeks.
Anyway, I give it up for Dave. I am not too prideful to be able to say, well done, Dave. Great job.
Why, thank
Super
you, my
proud of
friend.
you for that one.
Working
Honestly,
class
we're all
spaceman.
so impressed with you at how well you wore the pants and shot off the rockets. So great job to you, man. Looking forward to NASA.
Red X space program, baby. You saw it here. We had the best launch this side of Texas.
Anyway, this is Dave and Jor signing off. We'll see you next week.
See you next.
Dude, that actually felt, I know it looked like it was so far away from my head, but when it came there, I was like, I'm about to die by Mentos Coke Rocket, which I guess
all the
actually
ways-
wouldn't be that bad of a way
I
to
feel like
die.
it'd be an embarrassing story to tell in heaven. Like you're sitting around with a bunch of manly dudes. Like, how'd you die? I was like wrestling a bear. How did you die?
I took a Mentos Rocket
Coke
to the
bottle in the
face.
head. It just shot me and I died. But anyways, yes, it's a bit unfortunate. I was on Team Jor that round. A little bit sad that he lost, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we want to keep you updated with some of the things we have going on here at Red with our Red Alerts. So I do want to say this. If you're a guest with us tonight, thank you so much for joining us. We would love to be able to connect with you. So do me a favor, put it in the chat below or DM us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever platform you're watching on. I can't speak. Do me a favor, send us a message because we want to connect with you. We want to be able to answer questions that you might have and get to know you some.
Yeah, we are so glad you guys are joining us tonight. But also, we want to make sure you guys are tuning into everything we have going on here at Red during the week. So make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube because we got a bunch of great things going on every day. In fact, on our Instagram, we have what we called Red Dailies, where we have daily things you can engage with. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have engaging content for you to engage with. I said engage like a million times. Make
You
sure
also
check it
listed
out.
6 days of the week instead of being like every day except Sunday we have
I
something.
guess that's true.
Monday,
I like saying
Tuesday,
it. I think it's more fun to say that fast. So make sure you follow us, hit that follow button, make sure you subscribe to everything we got going on here at Red.
And that's it for your Red Alerts this week. With that, we're now going to jump into our sermon series that we're in the middle of, which is Red Mixtape.
are in our 4th week of our Red Mixtape series, a series where we're breaking down top cultural songs right now and talking about the messages behind them. And today we're breaking down one of my favorite songs. This is kind of like a good summer vibing song. It's Sunday's Best by Surfaces. Now I know I always have like these summer playlists, and Sunday's Best is totally making that.
Oh, 100%.
It's like that playlist, you know,
good.
that just, it gets you in the summer vibe. You know, you're driving down the, road and it's just like that summer night. Sorry, I'm just getting in the feeling with this. And you put on these songs and you're just like,
Life is good.
it's summer. Life is good, exactly. So we're gonna be talking about Sunday's Best today by Surfaces, and we're gonna focus on a verse from Sunday's Best. So here's what it says. I don't know should I try and sing it?
If you can, I tried to do it the past few weeks, and I like to think I did pretty well. So
I'm gonna try.
Try
Okay,
to top
okay,
it.
Here we go. Ready? This is the verse. Every day.
Okay, that's
can
enough.
be-
You're good.
Oh.
No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna do it. Okay, fine. Here we go. Every day can be a better day despite the. I'm not gonna keep going. So here we go. Here's what it actually says. This is taking way too long. Every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand out, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, because there's no way around it. So again, this is a very positive song. It's probably the most positive song we've talked about this whole series. But essentially it's saying, there's gonna be tough times, there's gonna be struggles that you face, but that doesn't mean you can't make the best of it. And the best way to handle it is to frame things in a positive light and forget about the negative things. Again, a very good feelings, good vibes song that we're talking about
Yeah,
here tonight.
and here's the tension within this song, because I think we've all been in that moment where, as Caleb said, it's maybe the stars are just coming out at sunset. It's a nice, cool summer evening. You have music playing, and you're just in a good mood, and you're like, you know what? Life is good. But then there's the moments where you're kind of pulled out of that, and you're like, oh, life isn't as good as it was in that moment. Kind of the reality of real life hits you. So, when you're in the middle of, when I was growing up, my parents got divorced and I had to deal with all the dynamics around that. And there was moments where I felt really good, but then there was a lot of my time where I felt like, oh, but life really isn't very, very good right now. And it was hard to keep that mindset that I felt in that motion. It kind of felt like a little bit almost cheap. Like it was just an emotional high, and then I was like, but real life is kind of bad. But the cool thing is, actually, I don't think that that's what God has for us. I don't think God wants you to just feel always discouraged and defeated by what your real life is. But I think learning how to develop the skill set to reframe your problems and understand the way that God views them is a difficult thing. So that's the question we want to ask tonight. How do we reframe our problems to be able to actually have God's attitude and not let it destroy us emotionally?
That's so good. And so the truth that we want to unpack tonight is essentially what you allow yourself to eat mentally directly affects your ability to respond to problems healthily. I know that's a lot. I'm actually going to say it in because it's so good. So if you got a pen and a paper or you're taking notes on your phone, get ready to write this down because this is so good. What you allow yourself to eat mentally determines your ability to respond to problems healthily. So to study this more, we're actually going to go into the Bible and study the book of Philippians, which is written by Paul. And Paul is a super famous figure in the Bible. He wrote 2/3 of the New Testament, which is a lot of stuff. He wrote 2/3 of that. And he's actually a big reason for a lot of the things we believe in our theology and beliefs today as Christians. And so to give you some context into Philippians, essentially what's happening is Paul is writing to the church of Philippi, which is located in Philippi, which is a very well-known location in the ancient world. And to give you some even more context, maybe you're a history buff, Philippi is actually the place that Mark Antony and Octavian killed Brutus and Cassius after Julius Caesar's assassination. So for all you history buffs, that's a little, now you know where this is taking place. But based on that, we know that Philippi is in Rome. That's where Julius Caesar ruled. Philippi is in Rome, and Philippi was probably a place where there was a lot of very intellectual and philosophical people. These people were extremely intelligent. So Paul's whole goal was to help them kind of reshape and understand how to think in a positive way, and to make them think beyond what their just intellectual and philosophical thoughts are, but to think something more. So have you ever heard of the phrase, maybe you know too much, or you're too smart for your own good? That's kind of how we would describe these Philippi people, these Philippians, is that they knew too much for their own good. They were extremely intelligent, they were very brilliant, but at the same time, they lacked a very key component, for their life, which is a relationship with Jesus Christ. So in trying to reach these people, Paul was writing to the Philippians, the church of Philippi, and he wrote a couple lines, a couple verses to kind of help them orient their philosophical thoughts in line with Christ. So this is Philippians 4:8. He writes, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." Now, the whole idea behind this was that they need to not allow themselves to focus on the wrong things, to have their minds clouded by things that they shouldn't be thinking of, that would distract them from the main thing that should be a part of their life, which is a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and here's kind of a connecting piece. This is another interesting piece of history here. So around this time, a very common philosophical belief that they would have, and this is actually where we get the term from, is called skepticism. And it's where a person would intentionally ask a lot of questions and put a lot of things into doubt and be like, I'm not sure what I think about this. I'm not sure what I think about these things. And so you could study that. It's actually a really interesting branch of philosophy. If you're a philosophy person, go study those. But Paul is writing to a group of people that would actually ask a lot of questions and hold a lot of things loosely. And so he's trying to speak to their minds. And here's kind of an analogy I want to give to make this make sense. And if you know me or you've known me for any period of time, you know that sometimes I give some weird analogies. So I'm just going to ask you, this might be a little bit of a weird analogy, but I want to throw it out there to see if it lands.
Classic Gil we got right here. Let's hit him with the Gil.
But here's the way it is, okay? So just like your house can only have so many people in it for a party, having a huge post-quarantine party or something, invite a lot of people over. There's only so many people you can have in a house. There's only so many thoughts you can allow into your mind. So picture with me for a moment, if you had a big party at your house. Connor Shim, I'm going to use you as an example because I love your house. You got a pool, you got a nice place to be. He can have a lot of people over, but at some point what's going to happen is it's actually going to be too much. I don't know what that number is. Let's just say it's 400. He can have 400 people over, but he can't have 425. There's a point where it ceases to be like an actual party, and it's just a bunch of people huddled together, and things are probably getting pushed over and they're breaking, and people keep peeing in the pool, and food's getting thrown everywhere. It kind of becomes a mess. And what Paul is trying to get across here with this thought is that you only have so many hours in a day. There's only so much that you can think on. Try to take the time that you have and focus it on things that are going to make you healthy instead of just letting whoever it is in the party kind of come over when they want. So for me, let me give you a way this applies. For me, when I was really struggling with depression, what I would do is I would have this kind of wave hit me, and I would just be stuck in this feeling and these doubts and these insecurities and these questioning of my self-confidence and my identity, and I would just sit in it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and it would be kind of just letting whoever I want come into my house and party and do whatever they want, instead of filling it and replacing it with good things. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hey, you know what? 24 hours a day, you need to be thinking about these things. Because I'm just going to be honest, I don't think that's very practical. But if you do think about things that are lovely, that are true, that are pure, what that's going to do is it's going to invite kind of the right people into your house so that there's even less opportunity for other people to come in. Because if the house is full of a lot of good things, there's not room for other stuff to get in there. So when Paul was writing this, he was saying, hey, you have the ability with your mind to eat good things mentally, and that will set you up to be in a spot spiritually to not be hit as hard. So I'll be honest with you, depression was something that I really had to walk through and that God had to pull me through. But when I was able to wake up each morning and I was able to list out a bunch of promises that God had for me and I prayed about them ahead of time, what that did is 2 a.m. when I was struggling with a wave of it, it was less intimidating than it was the night before because I was already grounding myself in something that was true and I was feeding myself something that was good.
That's so good. So again, the question we're kind of trying to answer here, the tension that we have is, how do we frame the problems in our life in a healthy way, even when we feel like life is kind of beating us down? So here's some kind of practical applications that you can put in your life. So the first thing is, make a list of the good things that God has put in your life. Here's the thing, we as human beings have this miraculous ability to take things for granted very easily. Think about this. Last night, were you thankful for the fact that you got to sleep on a bed? This morning, were you thankful for the fact that you had breakfast or a meal for lunch? Or were you thankful, for the past few weeks that you had amazing friends and family to be around you and to love you? Probably not. It's not something we commonly think about. And we have this amazing ability as humans, and it's also an amazing curse, I guess you could say, where we just take things for granted after a while. And what this causes us to do is it causes us to lose focus of just how good we have it. And when a negative things come in, man, it's like we tunnel vision on those things. And those things become the biggest things in our life. But if we choose to make a list and focus on the good things, man, if you're making a list for everything you've been thankful for, it'll make that little negative thing seem like very, very tiny compared to this huge list of amazing things. I know for me, I'm thankful that I have an amazing family, amazing friends, an amazing church. I have a healthy body. You know, I have an education. I have people that are supporting me. Man, this list could just go on. And when I have this huge list of things, that small negative thing that's bringing me down doesn't seem as intimidating anymore. So make sure you're getting your perspective right by seeing all of the amazing things you have in your life. That way that little thing that's bothering you or harming you, and maybe it doesn't seem small, but in reality it really is. Man, when you frame your perspective in the right way, it'll allow you to have a more positive life, even when life is beating you down.
Yeah, and the second thing is this, it's be prepared to fight for the truth and to actually fight for the truth. Here's the biggest tension that I see in students. And I see this a lot in retreats. I see this a lot in messages. You're presented with this idea of truth, and you're like, yes, okay, I believe that God's called me to do this thing, or He's said about the things that I'm insecure about, that I have confidence in Him, or the things that I'm doubtful or afraid of, that I can be strong and be courageous, and I can be filled with joy and peace. And then reality hits, and there's this like strong disparity between the two. And here's the truth about this with us as adults, with you as students. You're gonna have to learn how to fight that, because there probably won't be one big moment that comes and God takes away all of your problems, but it'll be a fight to learn how to reframe those things and focus on what God is actually saying is true on that, and make that the attention of your focus instead of being distracted by other things, because it's really easy to get sucked back into old ways of thinking. And what you're actually trying to do is you're kind of transcending your own mind for a second to try to tell your mind, hey, I'm going to focus on these things because this leads to greater spiritual health. But it's going to be a battle. It's going to be something that's sometimes painful, that's sometimes difficult, that's sometimes discouraging. But if you're feeling discouraged, you're feeling beaten down by it, the good news is this: everybody feels that way. You're not alone in feeling that way. If you're struggling with anxiety, and you're struggling with doubt, and you're struggling with apathy, and you're struggling with fear, hey, the good news, a lot of other people are learning how to fight that too. So by opening up, by sharing, by encouraging one another, you can actually get past this. But it's going to take you fighting against it.
Yeah, that's good. And the last thing we have for you is you got to get rid of the things that reinforce the lie and reinforce those negative feelings. So to break this down a little bit, essentially, what we were saying before, what you allow yourself to eat mentally directly affects how you will respond to problems healthily. Let me say that again. What you allow yourself to eat mentally will directly affect your ability and how you respond to problems healthily. So here's the thing. Movies, what you watch on TikTok, what you see on Instagram, what you're watching on TV shows, what you're listening to on Spotify, all these things that you're consuming will directly affect how you can respond to problems. So what this means is, this is not just, we say this a lot, make sure you guys listen to the right things, make sure you're filling yourself up with godly things. But this isn't just a church thing. This is a scientifically proven thing. Science has proven that whenever you listen to negative songs or media with negative messages, man, it directly affects the way you feel. It directly affects your emotions. It says when you listen to these more sad songs, these negative songs, it actually can increase levels of anxiety and depression in your life. So this is not just a church thing, but when you allow things in your life, like negative things like that, harmful things, man, they will be dangerous to your mental health. So make sure you're not allowing things like that in your life. Make sure you're filling yourself up with things that are life-giving, things that are positive, because it has a direct effect on how you can respond to the problems that you'll face in your life.
Yeah, and with that, here's another good example of this. So I always like to tell about some of my experiences growing up. So growing up, there was a period of my life where I was very overweight, and I struggled with confidence in how I looked and my appearance. And one of the things that always like kind of discouraged me. And this was when the start of Facebook and like MySpace, if you guys remember that. You see someone who's really attractive and you're like, man, I'll never look like them. And now more than ever on TikTok, it's really easy to find people that are in shape or attractive or meet some idea or like fit some kind of niche of what you want to look like or what you want to be. And by looking at it, it's something that actually discourages you and defeats you because you feel like, man, I can't ever look like that. I'm just probably not that good a person. Hey, that's a lie. And being careful about feeding yourself that kind of a thing and letting yourself watch that and take that in is the kind of thing that we're talking about guarding against so that you can protect what you have going on upstairs. So
good.
With that, let's pray to close out our message. God, thank you so much for each and every single student that is watching, God. I pray that you would begin to speak to them, your plan for their life, God, and the things that you are saying about them. Those who are struggling with depression, anxiety, and fear, with self-confidence issues, God, I pray that right now that you would speak to them Bible verses, your word to them, that they can take strength from, that they can ground themselves in, God, so that they can conquer this, and they can be at a point where they're in a healthy spiritual relationship with you, God. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Guys, it's been an amazing night. We're going to close off Red TV for now, but we'll see you next week at 7 p.m. And also make sure to follow us on all of our social medias to stay in tune for what we got going on here at Red each week. We love you, though, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys. Bye.